I think that should be empowering to women versus saying I'm trying to fight my way into the man's world. I find it to say, no, this is an equal world. We just have to bring out who we are, and why wouldn't anybody embrace us?
Welcome to Women We Should Know with international speaker, mindset reset mentor, author, and your host, Leslie Michaels. With audacious honesty and candor, the Women We Should Know podcast presents the wisdom and life-empowering insights of women who are the embodiments of innovation and social evolution. Please join Leslie as she shares potent conversations that will inspire your personal and professional evolutions.
Welcome back to Women We Should Know. It's another exciting day here in the studio. I'm always so happy when I get to do a podcast, when I get to sit and speak with another audacious woman and to bring that conversation to you so that you get to pick up tips, discover a little piece of inspiration. This is the time of the woman. Everyone from the Dalai Lama on have acknowledged this. And so one of the important pieces, or at least what I believe is one of the important pieces, is for us to become more familiar with each other, for us to begin to understand all of the things that women are out there accomplishing, all of the things that we are creating, all of the areas in which we are innovating, and all of the ways in which we can come together in alliance and support one another. It's time for the end of the old internalized misogyny of competition, and time for us as women to be our greatest potential. I have a woman for you today who I'm so excited to introduce you to, who is really the embodiment of this. Now, we have all heard the recording. This call may be monitored for quality assurance. Lisa DeFalco is the pioneer who created this entire thing. Every time you hear that, you are hearing the creative genius of Lisa DeFalco. Her company, TPG, serves the largest global corporations across 9 countries and in 11 languages. I need to remember to ask her how many of those languages she personally speaks. I'm always fascinated when people can speak multiple languages. I do good to get through in English. Prior to her launch in the quality assurance market, Lisa was a tenacious, committed, and ambitious girl from Newark, New Jersey. She has built an empire from scratch and believes that with hard work, grit, and grace, success like this can be accessed by anyone. All of us as women can access this level of success. So I'm really excited to be able to bring Lisa DeFalco, her tenacity and her voice to you today.
A day where we are gender agnostic as a society.
Yes.
Right? Because that tells me women will have earned their place in the world. When we're not, well, we're just the women, or this is a women's movement. And I'm all about women. My business is, it has as many women executives and women team members as it does men. So I'm all about it. I welcome that opportunity to be able to make sure that everyone has a playing ground here to be able to be the best they are. And whether that be a gender base or, we're also very welcoming of any religious community, of the gay and lesbian community, where it doesn't matter who you are.
A fully diverse company, inclusion, equity.
Inclusion's everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And collectively, when you start to include, what I have found is you start to, quote, group people by their true soul, by their true skill. And then you go, oh my God, we're all alike.
That's right.
The same common piece. And that, I think that should be empowering to women versus saying, I'm trying to fight my way into the man's world. I find it to say, no, this is an equal world. And
Yes.
we just have to bring out who we are. And why wouldn't anybody embrace us?
Exactly. And one of the things that really, it's one of my soapboxes. I'll just call it like it is the level of incivility, woman to woman incivility. And there have been untold studies about this. We have to stop feeding on each other, and we have to stop suppressing each other, because at the end of the day, we are suppressing ourselves.
Oh, amen to that. Amen to that. I mean, that you're bringing back flashbacks of the days and the words of Gloria Steinem, right, on this, in my opinion, where, you know, she led the way in so many ways for women. And yet, because it was just different, she just chose a different path. There were factions of women who were so against her. And really, she just chose a different path. So it doesn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, was she a good soul? Did she live her passion? Did she aspire to do what she wanted to do? The answers are yes, and she is continuing to do that. And just because her lifestyle doesn't resemble mine doesn't make her right or wrong. It just the cliche of having a big enough tent to allow us all to be who we want to be is true. It is cliche, but it is reality. And the more we embrace that, the more we actually take our seat at the table. Because men embrace it.
Yes.
They find it very odd to have different desires, different goals, different personalities. So why should we?
Exactly.
So,
And
right?
if we were all the same,
How boring would that be?
well, we'd probably still be living in caves. I mean, that is the reality of it.
Yeah.
It takes that person who's willing to think outside of the current status quo. Now, understanding all this and knowing that you built you pioneered an entire industry, and we're going to talk about that. What frightened you the most about taking the journey that you took to go from Newark, New Jersey, to being the founder and CEO of a multi-million-dollar company that works around the world, that is the expression of diversity and equity? What was the most frightening about taking that journey?
So originally, the most frightening is failure. You know, I was told to fear failure. And I use those words deliberately. I don't know that I ever embraced that, but I was told to fear it. And I would tell you, though, that I have failed more than I've succeeded. And every failure I have, and I've been in business a long time. I've been in life a long time. I wear my failure as a scar, and I welcome it. Like I live.
That's your tattoo.
That's my tattoo, and I embrace it. And I was told to have that fear. I think the biggest thing that I look back at and really had to say, okay, you had to uncover this. Overcome this. Wasn't a fear of failure, although I'm told that. It's a fear, not a fear, excuse me, a feeling of unworthiness. And I do think it resonates for a lot of women. I didn't feel worthy of having any level of success. I didn't feel worthy of being a leader that one would want to follow and partner with. I didn't feel worthy that I would be able to be a mom and a professional. Like, who am I to do all that? I'm just a punk from Newark. And who am I to establish a way the Fortune 500 define, quote, a good call. Who am I? And at the end of the day, it just takes a kid from Newark to be able to make things happen. And so we can all do it. Who am I? I'm just a punk from Newark. But I'll tell you, this punk made good. And if I can do it, that tells me anybody can do it.
That's right.
That's the thing I had to overcome, was the who am I, to be able to do that and be able to get up when I have failure. Because, there are people around you, and you mentioned this about women, that unfortunately we do this to each other, who want to see that failure.
Yes.
Right? They almost sadly celebrate it. And if you're going to be in this game of life, and especially if you're going to be in this game of business, you're going to fail. If you don't have failure, then you haven't lived, in my opinion, and you haven't built a business. So as you fall, and you will, the ability to dust your knees off and get back up is one of the most skill building, soul building things that one does. And I've done it. Again, I fail more than I succeed. I do it over and over. I reflect. I'm humbled when I have success because of it. I'm extremely grateful for every moment that I have that's successful and candidly not so successful, so that I can learn from it and reflect with it. And I feel like that moment of being able to get back up is really one of the beautiful things one can teach oneself.
Truly successful people who haven't failed more than they succeeded.
Amen.
And I've got the tiara, I got to say.
Love it. That's great.
And it never sits too long or gets too much dust on it. And that is something I really enjoy more and more women talking about and bringing to more women, because we are, from time we're little and we're supposed to be good and nice and proper and all of that rubbish. We are taught to fear failure.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught to fear failure, where boys at the very same time are taught to go out there and fail and get back up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love having women speak to the fact that we too can do that. We can do that. We can fall, we can fail. And I forget who it is. I think it was a famous sports person. I don't know any of their names, who said, it doesn't matter if you fall down 1,000 times, as long as you get up 1,001.
I agree. See, but Leslie, I think that's one of the things that binds both genders, because as women, we're taught to stay in our lane, not branch out because we might fail.
Right.
And I have empathy for men, because men are taught, you better get out there and you better succeed.
That's right.
Both of those are problematic, because the truth is, when you get out of the box, you're going to fail. You're going to have success, right? So together, the commonality is, how do we embrace that journey together? And how are we comforted by each other to say, when we fall down, who's around us to inspire us to stand back up?
That's right.
And that's the source I hope to be for I aspire to be for myself and for others, to say, I'm here to inspire you. Because when you fall down, it doesn't matter. Just take the hit. Let's go. Let's get back up. Let's go. Let's go back in that game, male or female. And
that's right.
One of the things that when we see the world differently, can bind us beautifully together.
Absolutely. If we can just sit there for 1 minute and say, okay, I got something out of this. I'm not going to know all of what it is until I'm on down the road, but I'm going to sit here and take a breath. And then for women to know, you don't have to bounce back up from on your back.
Right.
You can get up on your knees. And
Amen.
then you get up in a crouch position. And then finally you stand up. But when you stand up, you are taller than you were before you fell.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Yes.
True. I'm living proof of that. So true. Mm-hmm.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I have the tiara. How dependent, as you've moved through the multiple levels of transition that had to occur for you to come out of Newark and build this huge company, raise 3 adult people who are contributing to the world in a beautiful way. How dependent have you been on planning versus following your gut?
Oh, what a good question. I will tell you that I am the unplanned entrepreneur. I didn't start out saying, here's this brilliant business plan. I do not have a Harvard, school education. I would love to say that I had a brilliant business plan and here's where we're going. And, but candidly, I just fell into that. And I fell into my career. I fell into our path here. And so I would tell you that the best thing for my career, the best thing for my soul has been the quiet, the ability to get quiet, to hear inside where I needed to go, and then to follow that path, regardless of the naysayers around me. So when you come out of Newark, New Jersey, there's modest aspiration, right? That expected of you. And
I've heard that said.
Yeah, it's modest at best. And that there's good and bad to that, right? So you have you can overachieve because the expectations are modest at best. And then others could say that, there's not a lot of opportunity. I would tell you when you come out and because they're modest, you have to have the ability to say, where do I fit in? What makes my heart tick? And my soul tick, and start to kind of work your way. Even if you don't see the path and the plan and the business plan, just take one step at a time. When I was leaving Newark and exiting out of the school era, I never would have seen that I was going to start a company, let alone an industry. When I left college, I was just hoping to find a job that would keep me employed. So I wasn't here to have some big moment. I just kept moving forward. And when I got an opportunity to start a simple consulting engagement, which led to TPG, I just took the opportunity because inside I said, I don't know why, but this feels right. This feels right to me. It doesn't look right. It's not on anybody's master plan of saying 10-step rule, but it just felt right. And so I took it. And I've had the good fortune of following that plan and associating with myself with phenomenal people who also are of like mind. It just feels right, so they could have a better business plan and, that they could follow, but they say, yeah, you know what? My heart says, take this path.
Right.
Surround yourself with people of like mind who are all in it together, and that's how I move forward. So yeah, I'm an unrecognized entrepreneur back in the day for a long time. I remember my father, who was a great man, passed about 6 years ago. Great, funny man and huge cheerleader in my life. But his best aspiration was, I hope you get married so someone can take care of you. And he meant it sincerely.
I have met women who they charted their path and got to where they had set their sights on. And I know women who, like myself, like you, who they just kind of followed their nose. They followed their own nose to the next step. I don't think either one is better than the other, but I'm glad that I have the path I did because I get to continually be surprised. I had a really big surprise 2 weeks ago about a new direction that we are going. Do you have those surprises? Having this very large company, that touches so many people. Do you find that you are still having those surprises the same way you did when you were a young woman launching out of Newark?
That question has never been so relevant to me as it is in this last 12 months or so. The answer is yes, dramatically yes. First of all, I admire women who have that business plan of life out of the gate. And I admire it, I respect it, and I celebrate it. I think that's wonderful. I'm the person that says to everyone else who doesn't have that organized plan, you can be successful too. You'll be satisfied, you'll reach your goals. You don't have to start out knowing where you're going, because I certainly did, and I fell into it.
Tell our audience what TPG stands for.
TPG is well, first of all, it's just an acronym of TPG, and what we are is we're the voice of humanity in all customer contact centers. So meaning we're the folks that not just listen to calls around the globe, and then you've heard our tagline, but more importantly, we're the folks that actually capture all that data to be able to bring and quantify what the consumer experience is like for all the Fortune 500. So we're there to tell your story. We're there to be able to resonate for you and share back your sentiment, your emotion of what you need to big business around the globe. And so we take that role really seriously of being that liaison, making sure that we're that voice in this digital world where everybody wants to be distant and alone. And we're saying, no, you need to be heard. And think about what I'm saying on that.
And I want to just interject here for all of our audience. This doesn't mean that if you are still dissatisfied, you call Lisa and complain about it. She can't make the companies listen. She can only provide the information that allows them to.
That's right. It's so funny you say that, Leslie. I have friends who say to me, did you listen to this one call? I was screaming in it, Lisa, listen to this call. And I'm like, well, we listen. Our community represents and creates 15 million calls a month, our entire community. So I'm not sure I hear that call. Well said. But we are the folks that help bring and really believe that every human should be heard. And that's our business. And so I believe that on a soul level, I believe it on a professional level. We built a business for that. And this last year, what's been so transformational that's had me have a aha moment is we've run a business in a consultancy manner. And this last year, where we have people who professionally listen to calls, and they still do. We have hundreds of people doing that. We also now have built a artificial intelligence engine to partner with the professionals with us, who are our behavioral science analyst team members, to be able to listen to even more calls around the globe, because there's more and more happening.
And by the way, this AI, I believe from a previous conversation that this is another area where you are pioneering.
It is, which is the transformation. So now all of a sudden I find myself partnering with professionals, not only on listening to calls, but an entire technology business.
Right.
In technology to bring this to, we are the first to bring it to market. To your point, Leslie, we're the first to do true automated evaluation for the market, for the Fortune 500 commercially, and now going into the government space as well. So I had to continue to reinvent myself in order to be worthy to lead the reinvention of TPG. So we're finding that we continue to evolve together inside of TPG, which takes us to constant forefronts of newness, which means, going back to our conversation, moments when we fail, moments when we dust ourselves,
moments when we fail,
we go forward. Absolutely.
That's our gold. That really is our gold.
I believe in that.
Because the moment of success is a moment. And then we're down at the bottom of the hill, starting to climb up again. It's the next thing. You said you had to change in order to be worthy to go to this next step. I'm going to push back a little bit on that, Lisa. Did you have to become worthy Or did you have to recognize that you had always been worthy and you just needed a few more skills, a little bit
Ooh,
more expansion in order to be ready to express that worthiness?
I love that. And I'll tell you why I link the two, because I feel that it's if I want to continue to be the best I can be, since I'm a student of life, that in order to continue to be the best I can be and be worthy of being who Lisa really is, she constantly has to elevate her skills. So you're right. It really is about skill to always honor what my true guiding principle is, which is to be the best that I can be.
That's right. And so
Thank you,
that
Donna.
worthiness is inherent. It's just
Yes.
opening another window, opening another internal door. What is your, well, I started to say coming out of COVID, but we're going into round 2. Who knows what all this is? It's a mess. That's the one thing upon which we can probably all agree. But COVID actually allowed you to see or to dream.
Mm. COVID has been, obviously, as you state, a very difficult situation for our entire globe. And so we know all of the negatives, but I will share with you, there have been many blessings. And sometimes the blessings are actually most prevalent in that darkness.
Mhm.
And so what I have found is COVID has been a blessing in its own way because it allowed for quiet. Now, I'm suggesting we didn't have panic even inside of our company. I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting how we responded built further our resilience as a company, as people, as souls. And we originally had clients, like everyone, where every client was affected. We're all affected. And we had a moment in that when it originally hit to define who we were and who we wanted to be. And who we wanted to be was some compassion. We wanted to be compassionate. We wanted to be there to serve and support. And so we did so. And we made sure that even though we were asked for concessions, clients asked for concessions all day long, we honored them. And at the same time, we stayed true to make sure that our team could stay employed. And that wasn't an easy task. And that took a lot of soul searching to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
Once we accomplished that, though, and how we accomplished it was all through quiet. Because then I said, okay, in this moment when the world has paused, how do we take advantage of this time to be productive and move us forward? Otherwise, we're just going to get caught up in the panic and we'll just eat ourselves alive. We'll just in fear. And I'm not willing to embrace fear. So I'm willing to embrace failure, not fear. So I said, okay.
Say that again.
I'm willing to embrace failure, but not fear.
That's important.
It is important. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to succumb to fear. We're going to get quiet. The path forward is clear if we can just stay quiet to hear it. And so we did.
Amen, sister.
Right?
Amen.
That comes this phenomenal opportunity that I've envisioned, and the company, the people around me are far stronger than me in my business. They have brilliant talent, and out comes artificial intelligence. And this engine, we named her Anna. And when Anna, as she comes to the market now, when she's out there really bringing instant information and guidance to customers, she changes the world for us. She changes the industry.
Right.
But it couldn't be unless we got quiet, listened to what we knew would be right in our own souls. Again, lots of naysayers, lots of panic out there. So we just had to get quiet, move forward. And the fact that we were able to do that and progress that way provided not only the inspiration that our team needed to have something positive to look forward to, but it provided us the confidence to say we're going to be okay.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. High Level Business 101 by Lisa DeFalco. The topic is quiet.
Topic is quiet.
The topic is quiet.
Mhm.
So, as we get ready to wrap up here today, what do you see that women can do to most effectively impact our world while at the same time uplifting their own lives as we move into this next cycle of experience?
I would urge everyone to actually find and be their authentic selves. We can't help each other unless we can help ourselves. And we can only help ourselves if we just know authentically who we are. I have found my own success and my greatest success to be authentically Lisa. It's not perfect. It's not always pretty, but it's authentically me. And I surround myself with people who are just of like mind. And together, it's so inspirational to be around people like that have no pretense. They have their flaws. I embrace my flaws. I'm clearly imperfect. I embrace it. I'm vulnerable about it. I acknowledge it. I'm just me. And I love the fact that together, when we're all just ourselves, we can really shine with each other and see how much potential we have, and then celebrate each other's wins because we know we're all in it together.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate the fact that you speak about being vulnerable, being present, having your flaws, being transparent about them. This word being authentic and authenticity, it has gotten thrown around so much recently in the last few years. I find very few people have any idea what that means. So I really appreciate you taking it to the next level for our guests and speaking to that vulnerability and that transparency, and giving some people maybe a doorway into a level that they hadn't been able to access before or known how to access before. Thank you so much for joining us today, Lisa. This has been such fun. I know we could probably go on and on about this.
Well, I appreciate the time, Leslie. Thank you so much for the invitation. And I look forward to talking with you again. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And for all of you out there, as I always do for you, Lisa's bio, her URL, whatever contact information she wants to share will be on the website, as will the recorded video of this episode. So if you're listening to this on Apple Tunes, on Spotify, on any of the others, and you'd like to see this amazing woman, just go to the website and we'll have it on the video there. It's been wonderful to be able to be with you again today. I trust that you did receive some nuggets, did receive some inspiration, maybe a little kick in the butt in the direction that you had wanted to go and weren't sure about how to do that. So as I sign off today, I just want to remind you, you are smarter and wiser than you know.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you received inspiration for expanding your own social innovation and influence. Help us inspire others by sharing this episode and leaving your comments over at lesliemichaels.com/podcast. For more tips, insights, and support in creating a fully audacious, professional, and personal lifestyle you love, visit our Women We Should Know community on Facebook.